everybody. It's Rob Huffman here for Sin Sci-fi in the 60s, France Books Paperback Writers. I'm out here lost in space and I've lost contact with my co-host Greg Javer, who's down on Earth in mission control. So until we can regain contact, I'm going to do a little teaser of sorts, kind of stemming from our initial podcast before we can get to a final real second episode. So what I'm going to do is share the lot that I purchased with my portion of the money that I got from our Indiegogo campaign, and I want to thank everybody that contributed to that to help us buy these books so we can talk about them. Hopefully we'll complete the collection. So first up is F10, Part-Time Virgin by Bill Danger. We don't really know anything about Bill Danger. It's obvious pseudonym. There was a Bill Dancer writing for France Mag, so perhaps that's the right connection there. There's two Bill Dangers at France. This is one of them. And this model on the cover was shot by a photographer named Ralph Poole, and he shot things for the editor for various hot rod publications in the 50s. One example is Hop Up. So this is F21, Silent Sex by Jim Harmon. Jim Harmon, that's a real person's name. And this, like the previous ones, from 1962. I just read this one. It's set in the 20s. There's gangsters and cowboy actors. Harmon wrote for Sci-Fi and the pulps as a young man, magazines like Galaxy and If, and he did so in the late 50s and 60s. He's someone that knew Ed Wood. He was involved in some Z-grade movies, but not with Ed Wood. And eventually he got into old-time radio. He went to conventions and wrote lots of books about that subject. There's three Harmons at France Books. And the model on this one can be seen in the France magazines. She's also shot by Poole. And this one, like some of the photographic covers, has a fold out, and this one has no naughty bits, so I can share it, and I won't get in trouble with YouTube. This is Strange Harem by Jan Hudson, F24, and this is the pseudonym of George H. Smith. He, like Jim Harmon, was also a sci-fi writer, but he was probably about 20 years older than Harmon. And he was writing for the same pulps that I mentioned before, the sci-fi pulps, that is. But as early as about 1953 is when I think he started. In his lifetime, he wrote maybe 100 novels using a lot of pseudonyms. And he wrote both sci-fi as well as sleaze, and sometimes hybrids of both. There are three Smith novels at France Books, and we believe he wrote two of them with his wife, which we'll get more into at a later time. The model on the cover here was shot by a man named George Gowen. I don't have any information about that photographer. And this too has a fold-out cover, but I can't show it to you. F36 is Female and Fatal by Kendall Hill from 1963. And you'll note that there's no author on the spine. We can only find that on the title page. This is also a fold-out cover that I can't show you. The photographer is unknown. This one we're going to have to dig into a little bit more. I don't know much, if anything, about the author. I've conjectured that Barbie's companion Ken, the Ken doll, was released in 1961. An author named Ken Hall wrote Flesh or Fantasy for Pad in 1967, which is often misattributed to Ed Wood. And I don't know if there's a connection there or not, so just still digging into that. Coming back to the copyright page to the left of the title page, it's interesting to note that France Books was International Publications Incorporated at 8340 Melrose Ave in Hollywood. 1963's My Foul Lady by Alan Roberts, F39. Don't know much about this author. I can tell you that he's not the writer, director, producer by that name. This Alan Roberts is the only time this author appears in the France 75. This book also has a fold-out cover. It's interesting to note the first American printing. We'll get into that at our next podcast. Also of interest is Posed by a Professional Model, and that's all over these books, and we'll get into that as well. It's kind of an interesting anecdote. Sin Model from 1963 by J.D. Ford. This is F59. We have some suspicions that the person that wrote this may have written it France using some other names / pseudonyms, but all of that's unconfirmed at present. There's only one J.D. Ford title at France, and you will see that this is our first illustrated cover in the lot, and unfortunately I have no information on the artist. This title is going to be difficult to research because there's a contemporary politician that goes by this name, and also if you put quote-unquote model and quote-unquote Ford together in an internet search, well, you get all sorts of stuff pertaining to automobiles. The person I bought this for, I haven't dug into this save for reading the cover. Had in their description, she modeled leather. So it gives you an idea where we're going with this one. So that's my lot. Greg will have to share his soon. In the meantime, please subscribe. Please leave a comment. And I'm going to leave a little teaser, a link in the description so you know what our next full episode will be about. In the meantime, I need to go and read some more of this stuff with some robots. That's the airlock clothing. See you soon.